What's up, world? This your boy Tommy Mav, and I came to do a video on something that really pissed me off. To those who don't know, who should, unless you've been living under a rock, Kobe Bryant passed about 2 days ago. I've been thinking I was going to do a video on it, but to be honest, I really wasn't that big of a Kobe fan. I wasn't a fan of the way he played basketball. Mamba mentality was based on his whole Mamba mentality is based on a occultic thing. So I mean, I'm not saying rest in peace, and I'm not trying to stomp on the grave of a dead man. I'm just trying to be honest. Like, I don't really, anything I came on and said would have been hypocritical to what I've been saying about him for years. So I can't come on here and talk about his playing style and his legacy when I really, for a long time, did not, in my mind, I did not like the way he played basketball. That aside, as a human being, as a father, I'm saying, myself, and respect for him and what he's done for players around him, and really what he started to become after his playing days, which was very contrast to the recluse and kind of secluded type of person he was while playing. He became way more in his later years and his years out of I think he started to embrace more of a mentor role for a lot of guys, and once again, the Mamba mentality to me, I can't. I know it's cool to buy into it in the corporate world and all this other stuff, but to me, I'm not a fan of it. It's based in occultic practices of self actualization and self. As a Christian, that's not something that I buy into. So that being said, because anytime I speak on something, I always want to be as candid and as transparent as I can be. I'm not trying to act like I was a Kobe fan, because I didn't hate Kobe and I respected everything Kobe did on the court. I just wasn't a huge Kobe fan when he was alive. But his death did affect me weirdly. Because he was, a part of my life. You grow up, and if you're into sports, he's a big part of your life. Because the time that I was a little kid, to now, Kobe Bryant, has been around. So it's one of these things where you look at it, and you say, you really watched him, and he's been a part of your life, even if you haven't been a part of his. He's been a part of your life since you was a little kid, and it's kind of hard to jumble those emotions, because a part of your life is gone forever, and so you there is a level of attachment there. So I respect people who are emotionally attached to the situation, and a lot of times they're like, man, I can't understand why this has affected me so much. And it's kind of like people who watch Michael Jackson grow up from the time he was a little kid singing in the thing. He's been a part of their life for so long that it's a part of their life that's going to be changed forever. And Kobe Bryant was a part of a lot of people's lives, and so now he's gone, and it's a hole there that weirdly they feel like needs to be filled, and especially when you talk about athletes, that legacy is very important to their fans, and building on that legacy is also important, and it's very hard for a Kobe fan that he's gone and he won't be around to defend his own legacy anymore. So he'll be left up to interpretation. But I think if you are a Kobe fan, this helps his legacy a lot, because the death. I don't like to use this word as if it's a good thing, because obviously the way he died, the whole situation surrounding that was very negative and very bad. I'm saying in the long run, as iconic, he already was an icon, and now with him dying at such a young age, before he was really able to have a life because you only know him as a basketball player. He's really only had 3 years outside of basketball, so you really see him as a basketball player. And in the way that through playing basketball he's affected so many lives is iconic, and nobody really sees the reach until you're forced to confront it. And I think his death forced a lot of people to confront how iconic he really was. And a lot of people who, like me, who really didn't see him as this big of an icon. We always saw him as an icon and respected what he did, but we just never saw him as that iconic icon. And upon his death, you really got to see, man, he really was iconic. And my whole situation with Kobe has always been backwards. Like, I've always been a hater of the Lakers. Like, I hate the Lakers. I hated that LeBron went to the Lakers, and I kind of stopped being a LeBron fan for a season because of the whole situation. I just never been a Laker fan. I'm always rooted against them. They were kind of like, growing up in Florida, I was always a Seminole fan, but the Gators always won stuff. Even though the Florida rivalry was good for so long, I just never really enjoyed Florida. I hated Florida. So I didn't care when they were playing against Nebraska, teams that were even out of state. I never could root for Florida. Ironically, I ended up going and playing football for Florida. But it's one of these things where that's the type of hatred I have for the Lakers, and I really couldn't explain to you where it started, because I wasn't Lakers. I was a Bulls fan because I liked Scottie Pippen. So growing up, I liked Scottie Pippen, and Scottie Pippen was my favorite player, and then Charles Barkley became my favorite player for like a season or two, and then I went back to Pippen. So it really was one of these things. Well, growing up, I really didn't have a favorite basketball team, so I really would have no reason to hate the Lakers, but I did hate the Lakers. And so for some reason, I think it started because I hated Shaquille O'Neal. When he was on the Magic, people used to say he was better than Jordan. And he used to get me really mad because I'm like, he doesn't do anything but dunk. So my brother was a big Shaquille O'Neal fan. So me and him used to have arguments all the time because he would always be talking about how good Shaq was. But, you're a little kid. Like, Shaq, what Shaq does is easy. All he is just, and I used to literally say to my brother, like, he's just fat. He just knocks people out of the way and dunks. Like, it's like he's not good. I was like, Michael Jordan, is good. Charles Barkley is good. Scottie Pippen is good. He's not good. He's just fat. So we would have these arguments like all the time where I would just, hate Shaquille O'Neal. And Shaquille O'Neal ended up going to the Lakers. Shaquille O'Neal would end up going to the Lakers. And once that happened, it really tainted my love of the Lakers. And then when he started winning, Kobe was kind of his sidekick. But I kind of just hated Shaquille O'Neal. So, that ended up happening, and I think that's kind of what led to my hatred of the Lakers. And in the end, Kobe ended up winning, and then my hatred just continued to go for the Lakers. I just always rooted against them. I really liked the Celtics with KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, and I remember them playing them, and I was rooting against them. I hated the Spurs, but I still remember not caring when the Lakers were winning. Like, it wasn't a big part of my I would think I was like 15 or 16 when they were winning their championships, and I don't think I actually cared. I was just like, oh well, whatever. Like, I just totally, those were their years on when they went on their historic rant. That was the year where I was just checked out of basketball. I was a football player. I only watched football. I didn't watch basketball at all. So Kobe's like twilight, I didn't really watch basketball. And then when LeBron came to the Heat, when LeBron made it to the championship his first year, because I was so astounded that a guy my age, who was the same age as me, was doing these things. And I'm like, man, that's crazy to me. I was still, trying to play football. And it was one of these things where it's like, it was amazing to me that a 19, 20, 21-year-old kid was out here doing these great things. So I really became a fan of LeBron James around then. And so after that, then it just became a situation where I started watching basketball again. And everybody would talk about how great Kobe was, but I was never a fan of Kobe because I always thought that Kobe was more of a hog ball, and I didn't like the way he played. Skip to his towards the end of his career in the unrealistic hatred I had for Lakers fans. because of their just over exaggeration of everything the Lakers did. So that ended up happening, and it really did. It got to a point where I just blocked out anything that had to do with the Lakers for a long time. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. The point I'm trying to say is I really wasn't a huge Lakers fan, so in turn I wasn't a big Kobe fan. So I'm not trying to come over here and try to act like I'm just this huge Kobe fan, but I am a protector of what I like to believe is justice and what I feel unfair practices are. And what I'm seeing from the radical left is disgusting. A lot of them are taking shots at this dead person who isn't there to defend themselves, and they're really putting out these false stories, false claims that Kobe Bryant admitted to raping a woman. No, they said, excuse me, he partially confessed, which anybody with any type of sense understand. You can't partially confess for anything. Either if you say something that's true, you confess to it. If you said something that wasn't true, then you didn't confess to it. So you can't partially confess. You either are saying you did something, or you're saying that you either confess to that crime or you don't confess to that crime. You can't partially confess. So, but regardless, they take a statement where Kobe Bryant was talking to the lead executive or whatever, and he said that he could understand why the girl would feel like he took advantage of her. He never said the word rape. He said, I can feel why she would feel like I took advantage of her because he didn't really treat her with respect after he did something with her. He said he was very dismissive and very disrespectful of her, which anybody with any common sense is what I tell people all the time. A lot of these athletes are dumbasses. So they'll do these things to these women, and they think that these women are just going to, like, you just basically degrade her. You manipulate. It don't really take a lot of manipulation, but you kind of, like, everybody needs a level of respect, and I think a lot of times people think that because a person is beneath them, that they are beneath the respect that a dog deserves. And she said she did not like. He said that she didn't like the fact that he nutted on her face. To excuse the explicitness, but that's what happened. She didn't like that he nutted on her face. So he said she told him not to do it, but he did it anyways. So that was what he was saying. He can see why she felt like he disrespected her. But he never once confessed to raping her. He never once said he raped the girl. He never once admitted to raping the girl. The girl said that she had friends. That same girl had her own friends who testified in court that this girl told them that she slept with Kobe Bryant, and she bragged about it. She never once said it in a light, and she never ever used the word rape to describe their sexual encounter. This wasn't one or two friends. They say multiple of not neutral. Her friends, people who knew her, people who were friends with her, testified that this man did not rape her. That she never mentioned him raping her. And if you actually follow the case, the only reason why it ended up going to trial and Rashi ended up pressing charges was she tried to extort him first. She tried to extort him for money, and then when she tried to extort him for money, he said no, and that's what led her to go to the police. So she tried to get money out of it first. So that's the second red flag. The third red flag is that she has a history. They have documented history of this very same girl. She has called in 3 or 4 false claims that she has admitted to were false claims. So this is a very terrible. If it's a her versus him story, it is very unfortunate for her that her history is as bad as it is, and something serious happened to her. If it did, so that's your best case scenario. So the most actualized and most believable assessment is she's lying. that she made it up and tried to, and found out she could possibly get some money from it because she found out he was married, and when she found out he was married, she tried to extort him to get money. And when he went out and refused to admit to it, the next thing I know, she went to the police and tried to put this charge up. And they keep saying the DNA evidence. If you want to talk about more compelling evidence against this girl, they went to test her panties. This is real. Everybody knows this. They went to test her panties to confirm or deny that she got sexually assaulted. They could not confirm she got sexually assaulted. They can only confirm that she had vaginal bruising. But they don't know who the vaginal bruising came from because she had sex with 6 different partners in a span of a week. They found 6 different what's the word? Specimens or DNA evidence from 6 different guys in 1 week. So this is a girl who obviously has no discretion about sleeping with people. That does not mean it's impossible she got raped. It does bring in question whether or not you do have to pull back common sense to assume that this girl wouldn't be willing to have sex with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is not a weird looking dude. You know what I'm saying? He's not, he looks normal. He's a normal guy. I do not think he's really had to rape many people in order for him to get play from women. I do not buy that. I do not think that. And he was a very high profile athlete at the time. So the fact that this girl has no discretion and is willing to sleep with several different people in a week span does not give much credibility to the fact that she would turn down sleep with a high profile athlete. I do not buy that once again, and I do not buy the truth. But the reason why I say this is still possible she could have got raped, because just because she consented to have sex with him does not mean that she consented to what they said was anal sex or whatever. That could have actually, been a rape. She could have not wanted that, and he could have just did it without her wanting him to do it, which is rape. So I'm not saying, that's why I keep trying to tell people, I'm not ever saying that the guy did not rape her. It's very possible he did take advantage of her and rape her. All I'm saying is that the evidence, if I had to fall on a preponderance of evidence, there's more evidence that falls on the side that she is lying than the side that she is telling the truth. Because as I said before, and I don't even know, like I said, I didn't hear anything about any anal stuff or something like that. But I'm saying if that is what happened, if some of the reports that it was anal, but from what I heard, they said it was vaginal bruising. So I don't see how that equates. But regardless, my point I'm trying to stress here is that this is a girl who has a history that goes against her, and we're supposed to ignore that on the basis that some women are taking advantage, or some women have to deal with injustice when it comes to reporting rape. That's not fair. We take everything by case situation. We can't whitewash and we can't broad brush an entire type of argument, because there are a lot of women who do lie. There are a lot of men who have gone to jail for years based on the lies of women who have said that they've been raped before, and it turns out they weren't. Their careers have been messed up. Their lives have been torn apart. So we have to be very careful about branding people because one person say they did something, because women can contest themselves that women lie. But all of a sudden, every time they speak on it, when it's a discussion about rape, we're supposed to always believe that the woman is telling the truth. When we all know, just like women are human, just like men are. They lie just like men do. They lie in high profile situations, and they lie in menial and small situations. So it's about taking everything by case situation. You have to do that, because if you do not do that, you're going to end up in a situation where where you get somebody who can't defend themselves against something that never happened. And this stupid journalist, and the whole point I did this video is a stupid journalist, and all these SJWs are jumping out the window constantly, throwing all these rape allegations out, trying to muddy the waters and taint this guy's legacy by saying, oh, he was a rapist. No, he was actually, he went to trial and he was actually acquitted of those charges. So that's false reporting. and that is maligning and putting your opinion down. That has not, these people were sat in trial for, and I'm not saying that the justice system is perfect. Guilty people get away with murder, and a lot of innocent people end up in jail. That's not, just because the jury says you did it does not mean you did it. But legally, you have no grounds to stand on if you're going to sit up here and say that this guy did something that he was exonerated from doing. So all these people who are trying to sit up and talk about, oh, well, yeah, they want to talk about the good stuff, but they're ignoring the fact that he was charged with rape. Someone put out an accusation that he raped them. That doesn't make him. If there's a possibility he did, there's a possibility he didn't. Nobody is going to taint somebody's legacy off something that could have happened. Now, if you have some serious evidence and he would have been convicted of that crime, I have no doubt in my mind that people would have brought up that, and they probably wouldn't have been celebrating him. But the fact that he was exonerated from it, and you have no concrete evidence that he ever actually did it, and he says as strongly that he didn't do it than he did, and he has no other thing on his track record, nothing in his past of ever raping anybody or womanizing anybody. I have seen nothing in Kobe Bryant's past that would give credence to the fact that he would rape somebody. There's plenty in this girl's past there are plenty of things in this girl's past that would lead you to believe that she would make this up and or sleep with Kobe Bryant. So there's more evidence to the contrary than there is to the former. Yet people want to sit up there and say, oh, well, why aren't they talking about the fact that he raped somebody? Because he did. We don't have any evidence that he raped anybody, and it would be irresponsible for us to report on something that happened in a person's past almost 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? We're going to bring that up now after the man's death, and we don't even have any evidence that he actually did it outside of one girl who testified that he did it, and all the friends and people around her testifying that he didn't. No, you're the irresponsible person for reporting that. So this idiot goes out and she posts this story, talking about Kobe partially confessed. When you actually look at the actual story, he didn't confess to anything. He simply said it's possible that she felt he took advantage of her. That is not the same thing as saying that you raped somebody. But regardless of the situation, as I said before, there's levels. She decided to jump out the window because because a lot of these feminist people are under the impression, all these feminists, racists, dumb people. When you live in a cocoon of people who think like you do, you tend to think your opinions are the majority, when for the most part they're the minority. So you speak out on things thinking that you're going to get an overwhelming number of people supporting you. But what ends up happening is you start to realize there are way more people who think differently than you do, and than people who think like you do. Because we've gotten so good in a society of corralling like thinkers that we rarely ever come into opposition. And so what she did was she jumped out the window thinking she was going to get this outpouring of support from people saying, good, you brought that up. But she didn't realize that Kobe Bryant was huge in the female community and promoting female sports, promoting females in general. Like, Kobe Bryant is huge in the female stratosphere. So she met a lot of opposition from a lot of females. And she met a lot of opposition from a lot of fanatical Kobe Bryant fans. She ended up getting suspended, getting death threats. She had to move. They published her address, so she's in hiding. Why? Because you had to post some dumb junk when you had nothing to support it. Because, like I said before, emotions a lot of times override common sense. It's like when you're dealing with these black power people. Sometimes it's okay to stand on justice. Other times it has nothing to do with something being unjust. Sometimes it's just coincidence. Sometimes it's just things happen. Everything is not always black and white. There are a lot of things when you look at them and you can point to it being a history of that being the case. But sometimes things just happen. Like, there's a lot of people saying Kobe Bryant got killed because he was becoming too powerful as a black man, which I think is just idiotic. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah, they killed him because he's living in a white neighborhood. Yeah. No, I don't think that has anything to do with anything. Why he died. But regardless, there's people who are right fighters. Like, they're always looking to fight for something, because a lot of them are sport. Like, you look at a lot of these people who champion and stuff, Black Lives Matter, feminist movement, the conservative right, what do they call, whatever that new right party is. They're just, you go look up all of these people who stand up here doing this, they're generally college kids. You know why? They don't have nothing better to do. Most people are going to work every day. They're waking up and they're not going to places to protest stuff, because it's usually older people who are retired and don't have anything better to do, or younger people who are in college and who get off of work, school, and have nothing better to do. So they spend all their time harping on this stuff, worrying about this stuff, while the rest of us are going to work and living our lives. So it's so they're always looking to find something to fight for, so they can get likes and retweets and Facebook comments. You go, girl, or right on, brother. That's what they're doing it for. So they start to get paid through likes, and then they start to get greedy. So they start to look for any crumb, anything that they can find in any story that can link back to them getting those likes that they can pour. That's why you see people always posting about Black Lives Matter stuff or not. And like I said, once again, when I speak on these issues, it's not saying that I'm against any of these movements. I'm saying there are people within these movements. There's a reason there needs to be a feminist movement, because a lot of people who do not understand the plight of women. There's a reason for there to be a Black Lives Matter, because a lot of people who don't understand the plight of African Americans, and so on and so forth. We need these movements. Conservative right. There is a conservative voice that is not heard. Those people do need to be heard, but there are rabid people within those groups that make the entire group look bad. So you have to be very, very smart. And a lot of these people, it's like Christians a lot of times. You have good Christians who understand what the Bible says, and then you have people who become Christians so that they can be bigoted and or stubborn and closed-minded towards people who don't think like they do. And they found a group of people that they can hide behind, that they can use as like this battle axe to chop down other people. And so my point I'm trying to say is, when you look at people like this, you have to learn to ignore them. And I know it's very hard to do, but you have to learn to ignore these people, because most of the time they're gonna self-destruct. They're gonna end up doing it themselves, because they really have no legs to stand on. It's generally just ignorance. They work. And they work with this mind that they're being pious, when the truth of the matter is they're just being ignorant. They're very closed-minded, and they're just substituting bad behavior, and they're saying, well, I'm going to be counter bad behavior, but you're doing it by using the same bad behavior that you're criticizing. So at the same time, you're using closed-mindedness and trying to use groupthink and group power to overpower someone else's point of view, without ever logically engaging in any discussion about about ideas, which is right and which is wrong. You're just trying to overpower them into agreeing with you. And when you do that, all you end up doing is getting a shouting match where nobody's point is being heard, and everybody's just yelling at each other. And when it's all said and done, you're just as mad as you left, and nothing got accomplished. No mind got changed. All you did was silence people. And not to mention, like I said, I tell people all the time, some of the best conversations I have are conversations where I disagree with people. Because a lot of times when you disagree with people, you end up learning something new. Even sometimes when they don't even mean to teach it to you. Sometimes you end up finding new things about a situation where they'll say something that may be incorrect, but you actually understand the right way it was supposed to be, what they meant, and you end up having to critically think about something that you thought was a truth that you have to reevaluate. And that happens all the time. I do that constantly. I'm constantly evolving, and that's what life is. I think it's ignorant for anybody to stay the same their entire life. With new experience, you evolve. Your thinking evolves. You have to change, because that's what being intelligent is. That's what being a knowledge seeker is. Me, I like I said, I got one barometer, and that's the Bible. If it goes along with the Bible, then I'm willing to inject it into what I'm thinking. If it's contrary to the Bible, then I'll listen to it and I'll research it. But 9 out of 10 times, I know how it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back untrue, because 9 out of 10. Because if the Bible is the truth, that has to be the truth. And in my book, if I believe in the Bible, you can't feed me a bunch of bull crap and tell me it's filet mignon, because I know better. So when I look at these people who are protesting and saying that we should be talking about the fact that Kobe Bryant, after this man tragically just died with 9 other people and has no track record of womanizing or nothing like that, because this situation, because he died. Now, we didn't bring it up before he died. We never said anything about him when they were celebrating him before. But now, after he's dead and can't defend himself, we're supposed to start attacking him on a front that he was exonerated for, and has no evidence that has as much evidence that he didn't do it as he did. Actually, there's more evidence that he didn't do it than he did. And you bring up some faint little menial a statement that the guy made and encapsulated saying that the guy partially confessed to something is disgusting. Like, that's disgusting. You know that's not an admittance of anything. But that's what I'm trying to say, B. When you like I said, when you are a person who is fighting to get likes and retweets, you cling on anything you can find, because it's not about fighting for the cause. It's about you getting those likes and retweets. But she ended up getting the opposite, because she lives in a cocoon of people who agree with her. And when she's so used to when people don't agree with her, she's so used to just bludgeoning people with falsities and trying to use groupthink to attack people, that she realized other people can do it too, and they can do it ignorantly. And there's more people than you, and just because you're used to having a platform where you have more power than the people who disagree with you, that situation can always turn around where you end up running into someone who has more power than you do. But okay, I just wanted to talk about that real quick. I appreciate you guys stopping in, and please comment. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe, like, and let me know what you think. Am I tripping on that? Am I telling, or do you agree about this whole situation? All right, y'all. Peace.